Hey everyone, John from Nintendo Life here, and tomorrow marks another Sakurai presentation, which means dreams will be squandered. Now that's really not how I see it at all. With each character demonstration comes a new Mii costume pack, and many watch these with dread. I personally love these though. If a character you love ends up being a Mii costume, then that's something to celebrate, especially if that franchise otherwise wouldn't be in Smash. There's some brilliant representation like Travis Touchdown and Bomberman and Skull Kid and Sans. And while I can't wait to see Sephiroth, I'm really excited to see who else is going to be supporting. So with Mii costume packs, most of the time they consist of characters relating to the game that the brand new fighter comes from. When Hero came along, every single Mii costume was from Dragon Quest. We had Veronica, we had Erdrick, we had a Slime, and so on. Other times, like with Joker, some characters do relate to Persona. We had Morgana and Teddy, and a protagonist of Persona 4 and Persona 3. But we also had costumes for Tails and Knuckles because Sega owned Persona, so this is basically a Sega roster. Other times, there's barely a pattern at all. With Steve, we got Creeper and a Pig, but we also got Travis Touchdown and Bomberman. They have no relation to Minecraft. And with Banjo-Kazooie, we had Goemon, Proto Man, Zero, Team Rocket, and of course we also had Sans. So most of the time the costumes do relate to the new fighter in some way, but they don't have to, there's no rule here. But with that said, I do think it's more likely the costumes here will be related to Final Fantasy or Square Enix at large, especially going on their precedent with Dragon Quest. We also usually only see 5 or 6 costumes, but just for funsies, here are 10 costumes I think we're going to see in the Sakurai presentation for Sephiroth tomorrow. Cloud was done dirty in Smash. I mean, yeah, he's here, and yeah, he's great, but he was given 2 tracks, and in Ultimate, no Mii costumes. When he released in Smash 4, Square at least had a Chocobo hat and Geno, but both of those are absent in Smash Ultimate. And I know some people want one of these as a playable character, but I'm sorry, I just don't think Chocobo's gonna be playable. So my first prediction is Chocobo's gonna come back much like prior missing Mii costumes, such as Heihachi, Zero, Tails, and so on. It seems a lot of third parties would much rather have their Miis be DLC, maybe there's some kind of monetary deal going on there rather than it being in the base game. So most missing third party Mii costumes I think will show up in the DLC. There's a chance they could be playable characters, but in the case of both Chocobo and Geno, unfortunately I don't think so. However, they can do more with Geno. Seeming as there's a pretty passionate community behind him, I'd love to see him be a premium Mii costume like Cuphead and Voltboy. This was already somewhat the case in Smash 4, but go all the way. Give us a proper wooden face, and a track from Mario RPG. So yeah, 2 rather safe ones, the returning Square costumes from Smash 4. But what's next? Well, I think these 2 are rather obvious. Who would be the perfect Mii Gunner representing Final Fantasy VII? If they don't give us a Barret Mii Gunner, I don't know what's going on in their heads, because that is a perfect match. And equally as perfect, a Tifa Mii Brawler. I am super confident about these 2, and if they don't do it, then they are utterly bonkers. However, I do have one more request. I mean, yes, this would be neat, but that's not what I want. What I want to see is these Mii costumes be represented in 32-bit. I want big, chunky polygons. That would look so good. But something's kind of missing in that trio. We have a Mii Gunner, we've got a Mii Brawler, but what about a Mii Swordfighter? They could give us a chunky 32-bit Cloud, but what if they gave us a chunky 32-bit Zack? That way we'd have Cloud, Sephiroth, Tifa, Barret, and Zack all in the same game. The screenshot potential would be amazing. I'm less confident about Zack, but it would be really cool to see. Black mages have appeared in the series since the very first game, and they're widely iconic with Final Fantasy as a whole. And while a black mage would be very cool, what I want to see is Vivi, the best character from Final Fantasy IX, and kind of represents the rest of the series somewhat, but really, it's Vivi. But no, a black mage would be fine too, but I'm gonna call it Vivi no matter what. After this pick, I'm gonna move away from Final Fantasy, but there's just one more character that I want to see. And that's Terra from Final Fantasy VI. Terra is one of the most iconic characters in the entire series, and it would be a crime to have a bunch of Final Fantasy representation and just ignore 6, you can't do that. So while I'm sure characters such as Lightning are very real possibilities, I think Terra would be amazing to see. And it would be even more amazing if she had green hair. I realize in modern incarnations they made her blonde, but in her original sprite she is definitely green-haired, and that would be amazing to reference. And if they give us Terra, please give us some music. I know that's very unlikely, but please. So what other Square franchises might we see? Well, here's a game I literally just finished last night, and it's incredible, such an emotional roller coaster. 2B from Nier Automata. 2B's another character that's someone to see playable, and while that's certainly possible, I still think she'd make an amazing Mii costume. Her outfit is so distinct, and having the blindfold around your eyes would make pretty much any Mii look like 2B. You could even mix and match the face with something a bit more like this, and you have 9S. I'd be delighted if 2B were playable, but this would still be an amazing Mii costume. Next up, we have Edea from Bravely Default and Bravely Second. Despite being synonymous with Nintendo, there is nothing Bravely Default in Smash. No spirits, no songs, no Mii costumes. I would literally take any representation. Anya's is also very iconic, but with both games, Edea is kind of the most prominent character. It's a really iconic look too. Imagine my Mii in this! Look how good that looks! And my final pick, Neku from The World Ends With You. This franchise has gone from being a hidden gem on the DS, to having a Switch port, to having an anime, to having a full-on sequel. It's getting so much bigger, and to help that growth, putting Neku in Smash, in any capacity, would put a lot more eyes on this franchise. It would be amazing to have characters such as Cloud, Hero, Joker, Shulk, and Neku on screen at the same time. That's kind of the power of the Mii costumes. Many people see them as something that's disappointing, but to me, it's just another form of celebration, bringing more franchises both big and small into Smash. They may not be as exciting as full-on playable characters, but I'd much rather have them in here than not. Like, I know that Sora, for example, is a very popular pick, but would you really rather not have him in the game at all than be a Mii costume? Smash is so much more than just its fighters. The representation in the music and the spirits is so vast. Every facet of this crossover is important, so if someone that you love is a Mii costume, then it's time to become a Mii main. Anyway, I wouldn't expect too much more from this presentation outside of the usual stuff. After Stage Builder they announced there were no new modes, and I really don't think this is the time to announce a brand new character. This seems to strictly be the Sephiroth presentation, much like the other fighters had. So it'll be the backstory on Sephiroth, how he plays, the music tracks, the stage, and the Mii costumes, and that's pretty much all you should really expect. But the wild card is exactly how far the Final Fantasy representation is gonna go this time. Cloud of course barely had any, so will Sephiroth right that wrong? Or just kinda give us a few sprinkles on top of our, like, half scoop of ice cream? Well, Square was pretty good with Dragon Quest. I mean, some of the tracks are midis, but for the most part, this was a good celebration of Dragon Quest. Hopefully we get a bunch of new tracks. I mean, Cloud's tracks weren't just disappointing because of the quantity, they were MIDI tracks ripped straight from 1997. Hopefully there's at least one new remix, but if not, maybe even a remake track would be nice. Also, there's a very real possibility of Final Fantasy Spirits. Not that one. Get your calculator ready, because right now we have Cloud and Cloud. Spirits are guaranteed already, but I guess there's still a question of whether there'll be Final Fantasy VII spirits, or they'll pull a fast one and just add a bunch of random spirits from any game. I wouldn't put it past Square, but I think that's still rather unlikely. So I'm really looking forward to this presentation, and if 2B is a Mii costume, that would be my primary Mii. I really want that to happen now. So are there any Mii costumes that you want to see, and will there be any twists in this presentation that you're expecting? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to customize that subscribe button and make it look a bit like Chrono from Chrono Trigger, and we'll catch you next time. Bye everyone!